What up, everybody? This is Jason Lee from Hollywood Unlocked Uncensored, and we have... introduce yourself.
We've got Melyssa Ford, a.k.a. the Curve Queen.
And you got Giovanni Watson, a.k.a. the
And
Green
we have
Eye
a
Lover.
bone of... Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I stepped all over you.
Don't cut off my introduction.
Sorry, but I'm excited about
Me
who
too,
we
I am
actually
too.
have
Go
in
ahead.
the studio.
Let's proceed.
We have bona fide superstar Meagan Good in the studio.
Yes.
No, seriously, listen, Lisa, we need to get like the applause thing going on
Yeah,
because
for
every
sure.
man was tripping over himself to make sure that Meagan was comfortable. Like, is your seat raised? Do you want some of the alcohol? What do you want? What do you want?
Can I just say that
fabulous.
I put it out there that that we were interviewing Meagan Good. First of all, shout out to God, because I don't know how that happened. But no, I mean, I put it on my Facebook and Twitter, and like people were just going crazy. Everybody loves Meagan.
Everybody really does.
We love Meagan. That's not no
Thank
Hollywood. That's not no Hollywood shit either.
Because we all personally know Megan, so
It's
we
not.
really do.
I was just out with Laz a couple of nights ago. We went to have sushi.
Laz for our
sorry,
audience.
for,
Laz
for, for our studio or for our audience, Laz Alonso, who has been your co-star in so many different Jumping the Broom, Stomp the Yard, Deception.
Yeah, and counting.
Exactly.
So we'll see.
Exactly. You guys seem to work really, really, really well together. And I want to, kind of save what he said about you. It was very, very favorable. He holds you in an extremely high regard. So we'll get back to that a little bit later.
Aww.
Yeah, but I just wanted to kind of, start.
I remember watching him on BT Teen Summit. Remember that?
Laz has come a very long way, as has Meagan.
That's when I
It's so
first-
crazy because I remember actually when he was doing the black carpet, I think you guys were both doing it at the same time. And he was telling me, he's like, yeah, I really want to act. And he was interviewing me for Biker Boys.
Yeah.
So that's when I was 21.
Yeah.
So anyway, he was like, yeah, I really want to act. And I was like, yeah, man, just keep at it and stay focused, and you have the passion, you have the drive. And the next thing you know, it was like Stomp the Yard was, 4 or 5 years later.
Yeah, and you know what? You have that appeal. You had that same appeal that the Mary-Kate and Ashley, the Olsen twins had, where everybody was waiting for you to come of age from like Eve's Bayou. Everyone was like, I know she's
I was
sexy.
just about to say my favorite Meagan Good movie. I've never said this. People really think because I know all these people that I'm on their line every day talking to them about everything. I just don't, because I'm a fan of the people that we talk to. I'm a fan of a lot of my friends, but Eve's Bayou, probably one of my favorite movies ever.
It's got such a stellar cast.
Lynn Whitfield.
Lynn
Whitfield.
She's my mom in my
Meagan.
head, like at least my auntie. She's so
That was
dope.
my favorite movie.
Yeah.
You know what? It's safe to say, honestly, even though you're a young black woman, you're like a living legend. Like you're like a living legend. Like you really are. Your resume is so crazy. A lot of people don't know she was in Friday. Like a lot of people don't know that. Melyssa didn't
Meagan,
know
I
that.
promise you, I just found that out today.
Really?
I was like, she wasn't in Friday. He was like, yes, she was.
I was like,
Hold on. What did you do on Friday?
I was the little girl at the ice cream truck with Big Worm and Chris Tucker, who was like, man, hurry up. And then he was like, shut up, da-da-da-da. And I was like, man, I hate him.
I did not know it was her.
with the little hat backwards.
I remember that like it was yesterday. I remember Michael Clark Duncan, rest in peace, he was Tiny Lester's stand-in on it.
Really?
And I
That's
used to make them tuna
crazy.
sandwiches every day because F. Gary Gray was 25 years old. It was his first film. It was like the whole make or break type situation.
And he didn't understand craft services.
He didn't understand craft services. So we were there for like 2 weeks, basically trying to figure out when we're actually going to shoot. And I remember when we finally got to my scene, I was so excited and so nervous I forgot my line.
Was that your first project?
That was my first speaking role in a movie.
Really?
Before that, I had done like Barbie commercials and Pringles and so much,
And you weren't nervous?
Living legend.
Were you nervous?
I was nervous because it was my first time speaking, in a movie. Like I was girl number 2.
Yeah.
But like when they say start from the bottom, like I started from the bottom, like extra work on
The
Doogie
basement.
Howser and
Really?
Amen and stuff like that. And then, trying to be next to the little girl in the scene and be like, on camera next to her in the scene. My mom's like, just be good and be really outgoing. And so from that to like having little roles where I'm on camera to like having one line.
You went from being the girl at the ice cream truck to snorting cocaine with Melyssa Ford.
Yes. So I was telling,
like the transition here, people, is Hollywood is amazing.
So I was telling the boys that, because I was looking over, the biography, which I pretty much know already. And I was just like, she's been in so much stuff with Laz, but come to find out, her and I have been in 2 films together. One was a documentary, Good Hair.
Right.
What was your experience?
No, we were also in Think Like a Man together and Video Girl 3.
Girl.
How you don't remember? See, okay, for everybody,
That means she was in there for half a
for
breath.
all the struggling actors out there, one day you will get to a point
where you
forget that you've been working.
She's absolutely.
I didn't see you in Think Like a Man. This is new to me too.
Okay.
No, I really want to know.
If she thought like a man, she wouldn't be having cobwebs.
Exactly. There wouldn't be cobwebs.
But anyway,
we'll get to that. But yes, it's true. Megan and I have been in now 1 documentary, 2 movies together.
Yeah.
And the movie what Jason's talking about was Video Girl, where I play this. My name's Lala, I believe.
It was Lala.
And Lala was a party girl. And she
sounds about right.
And she, usually had cocaine on her. It's just like, let's get the party started. Hey,
right.
And tell them what we were snorting for real.
We were snorting
because we were like totally method.
Powdered sugar.
Really?
Powdered
sugar.
We did Coffee Mate and powdered sugar.
Wait a minute. As in really snorting it?
Snorting
we
it.
had to for the scene. You know.
Did it burn?
No, actually, we were kind of low key hyper. We were like in the car giggling and silly.
Off the powdered sugar, we were hyper as hell. When we got to the Coffee Mate, when we were at the warehouse, I had a full blown allergic reaction.
Oh, right.
Full blown.
Right.
Speaking
Puppy
of
bumps.
allergic reaction, last week we interviewed Jackie Christie from the Basketball Wives, and Melyssa Ed had a dog encounter outside where it licked her face, so she had all these bumps all over her mouth.
He was a really cute,
really bad.
he was a really
So we
cute
called it
puppy.
puppy bumps.
He was a cute puppy, and I couldn't help myself.
We were thinking Valtrex could sponsor the show, but this week they're gone. So
yeah, they were gone immediately.
So I prayed a lot before this interview because I said, God, work through me. Megan is somebody who I swear every single time I've interacted with her, always positive.
Yeah.
Like for real.
No, it's true.
No diva shit, no
It's true.
rude, no gossiping, no,
Man, that's crazy.
sometimes I kind of want to pull it out of her, but I'm trying to stay in my lane, and she's closer to the Lord right now than I am.
Megan's the definition of composure, and I can say that because I always feel like I am, and then she trumps me, for lack of a better phrase.
So for all our other guests, Megan, that are watching this show saying, damn, they're being so nice to her, we actually like her. Not that we don't like any of you. Okay, so let me ask you. We were just talking a minute ago about Amber Rose. Mm-hmm. You know Amber Rose?
Yeah.
You've heard of her?
Of course.
Okay. So she has this new talk show. I'm struggling because I'm not a fan of it. I'm not a fan of the slut shaming, slut walk. I don't get it. And I feel like in Hollywood, specifically black women too, get a hard, that you guys have it hard where I feel like people label you, and it's so easy to throw a label on a black woman. So she has this slut walk. She has this talk show where she talked about, her ex-husband putting babies on her face recently or some craziness. Then I see you go and marry, wait, and we're going to talk about the wait in a minute. Wait to have sex before you get wait until you get married before you have sex to your husband, and get criticized for clothes that you wear. What do you think about that? What is that?
And wait, sorry, just let me cut in just because this makes a lot of sense right now. I just want to preface this with saying what Laz originally had said about you when we were having sushi together. He was like, Megan cannot win for losing at all. No matter what she does, whatever, side of the fence she falls on, she's heavily criticized, for it. But she always handles it with the utmost dignity, and it falls in line with exactly what Jason's saying.
So what is that? What is that?
Bless you. I don't know what that is. I think this generation, especially, and the young people who are growing up. When I say young, I mean 20, 30-year-olds who I think a lot of what's being pushed down our throat or being kind of filtered out to us is stuff that doesn't really make us, I feel like, think of ourselves positively and know what we're capable of, and really just like who we are as human beings, especially as women. And I think we're a little misguided, a little delusional, and I think we're kind of missing the point of how much we should value ourselves. So I think in terms of myself, for me, the way that I grew up throughout my 20s, I dated like any other woman would. But even in that sense, just being in the public eye, I was criticized for whoever I dated or whoever they thought I dated or whatever they thought I was doing, or if they read something in the blogs that would be a half story or just completely false, I would always kind of get judged
labeled
for this.
as something.
Oh, for sure. And so my 20s actually prepared me for my 30s because had I not experienced everything I experienced in my 20s and dealing with all of the kind of like, things that people would say, and there'd be like 1,000 nice things, and there'd be 10 really nasty things.
And those 10 things just
But those
kill
are
you.
the-
And it totally
you.
just breaks your heart.
Yeah.
And then it makes you feel like, wow, is that what everybody thinks? And then, through my 20s, I struggled with having a chip on my shoulder, being angry, feeling misunderstood, feeling judged, feeling like people couldn't see my heart. And so a lot of the ways that I carried myself in my 20s was indicative of that feeling, But then when I got into my 30s and I realized, wow, everything that I'm doing is not really helping. It's actually making it worse. And so I made a decision to just do something completely different. And when I did that, everything in my life started changing. I just had more self-control, had some more self-respect. I already was overconfident and respected myself, but I found respect that I didn't even know that I needed.
Yeah, because you were Meagan Good that every man wanted to be with. I'm just saying. You know.
There's a lot of
every man except for me.
There's a lot of gay men that said I would go
reasons.
straight for a moment just to have that moment with Meagan Good. Tons of them.
I've learned not to drunk drive. I stay in my lane. But
I'm not even gonna say
But I
I'm
will
gonna be
say-
the party pooper. I was gonna say I was a guy that always thought she was beautiful, but I wanted to work with her more than want her.
yeah, well, all the people that I know don't have talent in acting, so they weren't thinking of acting. They were in love with Meagan Good, and you dated some interesting people. You dated 50 Cent, right?
I did.
So I heard recently that he has bad breath. Is that true?
I don't remember.
Oh, it's been so long.
To be honest,
So wait, Mom, where you?
to be honest, and just for clarity on that was over a decade ago.
Wow.
Really?
You know, when we dated, and it was for about a year, and I kept it under the radar intentionally.
She did.
Because at that time in my career, I had just come off of Biker Boys. I had just did the music video, and my career was going in a really great way. And what I didn't want was my connection to
Relationship,
him to be the catalyst in any type of success that I had. I didn't want anything from him. I'm not the type of person. I've always made my own money. I've always taken care of myself. I've always taken care of my family. So for me, it was really about protecting myself, because if people couldn't see the relationship for what it was, they would label me a certain way. So I just kept it under the radar. And the fact that people found out 10 years later, I'm like, but I was like 21.
But here's the thing: is
You
that
know what I mean?
50 is actually like a really great
Yeah.
guy.
I saw him the other night.
He's the nicest guy ever. Great conversationalist. Kind of, in touch with his emotions.
Yeah.
Very in touch with his emotions.
I think,
but just shut up.
people would be surprised.
Yeah.
People would be surprised at what a nice human being he is. You have to remember it's someone that was raised by their grandmother. So by all accounts, even what you see in the public eye is not necessarily a true representation of that person's heart. And I wouldn't have been with somebody who was a negative person or a mean person or whatever it was. It was definitely a person that when I knew him,
I think
very kind.
sometimes he lashes out on Instagram, so him and Gilbert kind of get thrown in the bucket of being crazy.
There's the persona, and then there's the person,
Right.
and there's a clear differentiation between the.
I just thought of a connection between you two again. I'm sitting here looking. First of all, Megan looks young as hell.
Yeah.
You do.
So does she.
You look
I
like-
came in
you-
here
you
like,
look
let me
like
get
you-
that found of youth.
But we talk about her all the time.
I was just
Yeah, so
rubbing
you're
cocoa
here.
butter on
You know
myself
what?
right
You know
before we
what's so
started
crazy
filming.
is that anytime we interview a man, you have massive amounts of cocoa butter on your breast.
It dried
and a
up.
lot going on. Today you're really
No, I saw her put that shit on.
It was filmed. He filmed.
She could have
me
baked
putting
a
it
whole
on.
But
batch of
anyway, back
chicken.
to the connection between you and Megan. I'm looking at Megan. I'm thinking of Waist Deep.
Right.
I love that movie.
Thank you.
Remember, Games in that movie, right?
Yeah, Game is the movie.
He said you drive a Honda Accord. That was the only thing I was thinking. Even though you didn't drive a Honda Accord.
Yeah, but then he also
Shut
said,
the
picture me like.
It's in my.
And I called him. I was like, Game. I was like, what picture Megan like Megan
So
and Jamie
here's-
Foxx?
and here-
Clarity on that. Me and Jamie never dated. Nothing has ever happened.
I was just
between
going to
us.
ask you about that too.
And I really felt away. I had to call him. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, no, I'm just saying, imagine that. I'm like, but in light of those pictures, which were totally misrepresentative of what actually happened, it was a jokey thing. I was surprised. I was actually in a relationship that I had just broken up with the guy, and we were trying to get back together when those pictures came out. And I was like, what?
So you're talking about Game song Wouldn't Get Far.
Yeah.
So here's the crazy thing about that song is nobody remembers anybody else mentioned except me. Like for real. It's like it's the bane of
Melyssa
my
Ford
existence.
drives a Honda Accord.
It's the bane of my existence. It's my cross to bear. And I
So
don't
you
even
were
get it.
she was mentioned in the same song?
She's
Honda's
mentioned-
a good car.
He talks. We will get back to that.
Wait, and so what yours wasn't true and yours
Gabrielle
wasn't true.
Union was mentioned. He mentioned at least 30. He talks about Takara. He talks about Gloria Velez. He talks about Vita Guerrera. He talks about a plethora.
And so
of
it wasn't
women
so,
who are in
so
the
it was
industry.
so basically all of this wasn't true but this song is I guess it grew legs, right?
What
People
happened to
believe
Vita?
it.
Right.
It grew everything. An entire skeletal system. Yes, and ran down the street. Couldn't catch it.
Well, for the record, none of it was true.
Thank you.
Game was just being creative.
Thank you.
You are so politically
That's
correct.
so dope, man.
You know,
been
me,
in
I'd
the
be like, your
industry
ass
since
was
birth.
lying. Okay, so you've had your relationships and now you're married
Yeah.
and your husband is a minister.
Yeah.
So you're a first lady.
Evidently.
How do you balance that? How do you balance? Because sometimes I look at what you've gone through in dating DeVon, who's one of the most amazing people. Meagan and DeVon, DeVon did, but Meagan participated in the Trayvon Martin campaign that I did back in 2012. But DeVon was actually the one person I went to for guidance before. I don't know if you ever did.
No, he didn't tell me that.
I actually reached out to him at Sony, and I went to his office. I was nervous as hell because I didn't think he would say yeah. I went to his office and I just said, what should I do? Because I'm moved by this. And he said, what is your message? And at the time, I didn't know what my message was. Right. I just wanted to help. And he said, figure out what your message is because these words are going to have power.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, he's good. Then they hooked up. I'm like, oh, it's going down. So I watched the journey with you guys, and I see how sometimes you're attacked online or people have opinions. And I personally don't go to the church house because of that very reason. I can't deal with judgment. I can't, life is enough without all that. How do you manage all that?
I struggled with it. When we first got married and the whole stuff happened with the BET Awards and the blue dress, the
blue dress was beautiful, by the way, and you looked amazing.
Thank you. I struggled with that because, for reference, I had no idea I was giving a gospel award, and even if I had known, I would have worn something sexy. It just wouldn't have been that particular dress, and I was totally oblivious. Because I'm like, well, I love God, I love Jesus, God is in my heart, I know who I am. I didn't think
and you have a banging body, and you're pretty, and you're making good.
Yeah,
thank you. But I didn't think much about it at all. So when it all happened, I was low key devastated. Yeah. I had never experienced.
So you didn't even see that coming.
I didn't see it coming at all. Because it wasn't a second thought to me because that wasn't my intention.
Here's what I want people to really just kind of look at. When you look at you and DeVon, you are a beautiful couple.
Yeah, amazing.
And not just beautiful, sexy. You're sexy. He's very sexy.
Thank you.
So
I agree.
Exactly. So it's just like if you were given this packaging, I'm sorry, I'm all for, kind of.
I mean, here's the thing is okay, let me get real spiritual for 2 seconds. Okay. I believe that, God has allowed every single part of who we are, everything from the way that we look to what we pursue to what's in our heart to our passion, whatever it is, how we communicate with people as a part of how he's going to use us to do whatever we're supposed to do in the world. So the way I grew up doing, off Broadway with drag queens, and I've had a totally different experience growing up than maybe somebody in the church. So I'm extremely liberal.
You've been exposed to the world and what it really looks like.
But at the end of the day, it's like that is the world. A lot of people, they're the ones who aren't exposed. The truth is, this is the world, and we're all here to love each other. So the experiences that God has allowed me to have and the mind frame that he's allowed me to have and the way that I see the world, my perception, my attitude, the way I think everything is all a part of how he's created me for what he wants me to do. So he put me in this business. When I was 19, I asked him because I wasn't working a lot. I was seeing a lot of my friends getting jobs and I was wondering why I wasn't. I asked him, I'm like, God, what do you want me to do? Because if this is not what you want me to do, then I will give this up even though it's what I really, really want and do whatever you want me to do. And in that conversation with God is when God told me, this is what I want you to do, but you're not doing it for you. You're doing it for me. So everything that I do is a part of who I am. And I have to be authentic and I have to be true. The women that relate to me are the women who are like me. I can't go out there dressing up, being holier than thou and being something that I'm not. Ain't nobody relate to that. That's completely inauthentic.
And it wouldn't be real to who you are.
Right. And here's the thing is I'm called to a certain kind of woman who's been through the things that I've been through, who has been broken, has been put back together. I'm not here for the other girls, and that's okay. Somebody else is here for them. And I respect that. Don't we all
just want to give her a high five?
Wait, I really do. I'm like sitting here like amen, church, synagogue, and tabernacle. Like seriously.
No, because what I love about it is that so many people are just so quick to judge people in general. Like you don't know any,
and especially celebrities.
Well, you don't know any individual person's journey. Like for me, doing Love and Hip Hop, that was my first time really going out and doing anything on camera. And I made some mistakes, of course. I reacted to situations differently than I probably would have in real life. If I would have been able to really think about it. And I feel like with the church, sometimes they are a little too judgmental. I feel like I heard there was this moment that went viral where you were on a panel and a woman stood up and said something about how you were dressed, and DeVon had your back.
Totally.
In that moment, how did you feel? Did you not know how to react or?
I felt that because she started off with saying God sent me here. So I said, okay, I'm definitely open to hearing what she has to say. And then as she began to say that she had seen me on the cover of some magazine recently in the blue dress, and I thought, well, that can't be true because the blue dress was about 3 years ago now. So that wouldn't be a recent picture on the cover of some magazine that I don't know about. But okay, so I'm still listening. And then she, you know, kind of finished it off, well, you know, you can't, you have to accept the Holy Spirit, as if implying that I hadn't. And I'm like, okay, which I absolutely have.
So you knew where she was going?
Yeah, and I just let her keep talking. And then she was just like, so, you know, you're going to cover up, right? And for me, what hurt me is not necessarily what she said. It was that as a Christian, as someone who should embrace me and love me, and if she really felt that it was her job to, you know,
counsel
hold me
you
accountable,
or
there was a way to do it in love, not attempt to humiliate me in front of an audience of people. And that's what hurt, because I was like, you're supposed to be Christian. And I'm not saying that you're not because of how you came at me. We all make mistakes and fall short. But God didn't tell you to do that, because God, he gives wisdom.
Love.
He gives wisdom when he has people give things to other people. And that was not wisdom.
So would the younger Meagan Good have reacted that way?
Oh, the younger Meagan Good probably would have just cried, because you know I'm of two minds. I have a fiery personality. I can be a certain kind of way, but I've trained myself not to be that way because there's no benefit to it. I've been in situations, like I remember being like 19 years old and getting jumped because some girls recognized me from Cousin Skeeter, and it was like really disappointing in the moment. Like, you know, they tore off my little graduation chain and like tried to take my shoes. Luckily, they didn't get nothing. But I was just like, you know, initially when I walked away, when I was being pulled away by security, I was like, God bless you. God bless you. What's going on? It's all good. It's not even me. And then I went home and thought about it. And I got mad. And I spent the next 3 days looking for them. And I finally found.
Was Lamaya with you? Because Lamaya.
No, Lamaya's crazy now.
I remember when
I love the Lord, but today I'm about to love beating your ass.
Right. So, you know, she wasn't with me at the time, but I found someone who knew them. And then I ended up running up on this other girl and threatening her in the bathroom. And I said, listen, you know, 5 girls jumped on me. Why don't they come fight me one by one? So, you know, the girls basically, they were going to come up there, but then they didn't come. Their dudes ended up coming, who ended up getting in a fight with my dude at the time. And then it ended up becoming a massive fight because some of them happened to be Bloods and some of them happened to be Crips. Next thing you know, someone's running up there with a shank and somebody pulls out a gun. And, you know, it was a crazy situation. Luckily, nobody got hurt. But I remember thinking, like, this is all my fault because of my pride. Like, I brought all these people into it, and so many people could have gotten hurt. Somebody could have gotten killed because of my pride. So just stuff like that, you know, when I was younger, it really molded my mind. I was like, it's not worth it.
So DeVon, when that incident went down with the woman in the church or where you were speaking, DeVon had your back.
Totally.
And he's publicly had your back.
Yeah.
How does that feel to have somebody in your corner who is fighting, not for you, but fighting with you?
You know, the best thing for me is someone who doesn't want to change me, someone who thinks that I'm amazing just the way that I am, someone who's willing to grow with me and is okay if I don't grow, you know? That has been the biggest blessing, because for every relationship that I've been in, there was always a version of me that someone desired, you know, when I would become this person, when I would do this, and when I would act like this. And I just wasn't there, and I may never, ever be there. That just may not be me. So I always felt like in every relationship, the love was to some degree conditional.
You guys really look like homies.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, like as a woman, that is exactly what, you know, we're looking for.
Yeah.
We're not just looking for somebody who's gonna, you know, just lust for us and love us. We're looking for our bestie. We're looking for our friend who's going to like us.
Yeah.
You know, and when we're not all that awesome, still be like,
absolutely,
I still got you.
Yeah, y'all seem like y'all got a very solid
Yeah.
foundation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like every video I see, every clip, right there.
In the journey to getting there, you've had to deal with people who have accused you of dating a bunch of people. Recently, there was this article in the New York Post. Let's talk about that. How did that happen?
The New York Post interview, it actually went really well. We had a great conversation, and it was positive, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is good. I'm excited about the story.
Because New York Post is official.
Right.
I mean, it's like the New York Post.
Right.
Yeah.
So when it came out, I was in New York at the time. I mean, I was on my way to New York at the time to promote the book. And I was just like, yo, why are they saying that I dated Lil Wayne and Jamie Foxx and Joseph Lovett-Gordon or Joseph Gordon-Levitt or whoever, like just saying a bunch of people that I've never dated. And they only got 2 people right, which are, you know, one of them I was publicly with for almost 4 years, and the other one I just told you earlier. But, you know, it was like, why would you list a bunch of people, like 7 or 8 people, for me as a black woman, and put a bunch of people on my slate that I've never even dealt with.
I hate that.
And you could have just called me. You could have just asked me. Like we
Fact
talked
check.
for like an hour and a half, had a great conversation. We're like sister girl vibing and everything. Why would you just post that and not ask me or, anything? So it really upset me because when I asked them to print something like a retraction or something, I got kind of like nothing. And then when I went on like Gayle King and different places, they were quoting the interview. And it was like, for me, the interview was not about for me to sit there and say, okay, just so you know, this isn't true. It was for me to promote the book. And I don't want to take up like 5-10 minutes when most of these interviews are 15 to 20 minutes long talking about this, that. So it's like, I really didn't even get a chance to address it. I kind of just had to swallow it, because when someone says something like, so you've dated a plethora of, athletes and I'm like, no, I've dated one.
It's really like unfair because there's no great equalizer. Once it's out there,
Right.
it's just out there. I always tell Jason that the easiest way to dismiss a woman is to call her a slut.
Yeah.
Or a hoe, just whatever. And just like, she dated this person, she dated this person. As long as it's true for the moment,
Right.
there's no fact checking.
It doesn't matter
needed.
if it's real.
It doesn't
So wrong.
matter because how are you going to prove a negative? How are you
But
going
that goes back to and having known you and known Megan personally for a while, the whole Amber Rose show. I really feel like it's a platform that promotes creating this kind of environment for women. With social media right now, if you can take a 1-minute clip of you talking about your baby daddy coming on your face as a joke and make a bunch of women, millions of women feel like it's funny, how is it then that
It's a slippery slope.
How can they connect with the obligation of men and other people to respect them as women?
Right.
To me, I don't get it, but I definitely don't get where somebody like you, and I always feel like people like you or Melyssa, who won't publicly fight for yourselves too, become a victim.
Sometimes,
Easy victim.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'll write back or say, what I want to say. But it's like also sometimes when you write back, you give it more life.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Give it more
because you
power.
responded.
And then
Exactly.
also, I don't want to be bitter because at the end of the day, those people are writing and saying what they want, but they're really not thinking about you like that. Like they're like you're not the center of their universe. They're going home and eating their mac and cheese and hanging out with their homegirl, whatever, and went on about their life and have no idea the destruction that they left in their wake.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't even want to give them that much energy or be bitter with them.
We just did an interview with Floyd Mayweather, and he was talking about how he said to me, never ever delete. I don't know, was it? We talked.
Post and delete.
Yeah.
No, he said never ever delete a comment or anything that anybody says, because remember, these people, they basically created the energy to come into your world. You're not looking for them. So when they stop talking about you, worry about that. But good, bad, who cares? Let them say what they want to say. I mean, I guess it's easier for some than others. I mean, of course.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I feel like for women, it's a little bit more difficult. You know, I mean, Jason, we know, the difficulties that you went with. You experienced first season. People came for your neck, and I don't necessarily disagree with what you did, but I'm just gonna skate over that. Anywho, but when it comes to women, there's just such a personal attack on who we are as a human being, where the attempt to devalue us as a human being, as a contributing member of society. We think about like, yo, I fucking volunteer. Like I go to church, I do this, I do that. And you're just basically, in a nutshell, dismissing me and my whole existence. We're emotional. It sucks.
Yeah.
Like, it
and I
sucks.
think you'd be surprised how many people, this is one version of just saying like, it emotionally can hurt or be frustrating or whatever it is. But there's people who really, really struggle with this. And it is the catalyst to, the drugs that they take or how much alcohol they drink.
Or maybe even suicide attempts.
Or suicide being successful.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll say after that little taste of Love and Hip Hop last season, I literally, I'm not used to a lot of attention. Thousands and thousands of kill yourself. I hope you die. I hope you get beat up on World Star.
Awful. It's horrible.
For me, I ain't gonna lie. I woke up in the middle of the night full of anxiety, but I had to literally live through it and live in it so I can get numb to it and get prepared. Like now when people say stuff, I'm like, whatever. I turn my notifications off, keep moving. Okay, so let me circle back. So you are married to DeVon Franklin.
Yes.
First of all, I think he has a lot of courage. He just left Sony, right?
Yeah.
And created his own company.
Yeah, I mean, his deal is through Sony, so he can, go to Sony first, and basically they have the first look at the movies that he wants to make, and if they don't want to make it, then he can make it elsewhere.
But now he's running his own company.
Yeah, he has his own company, Franklin Entertainment.
And you and him just dropped a book called The Wait.
Yeah.
And the whole premise on the book is waiting till you get married to have sex.
I have
Shit.
to, but wait, shut up, Giovanni.
No, because I literally
That's not
have
the
to.
whole premise.
No, but wait, I have to ask, did this have
That was
something
what I gravitated to.
Does this have something to do with Think Like a Man?
No,
Anything?
actually, I was
It's-
already doing it before.
Okay.
So
Damn,
when I
it's been
actually
that
got into
long.
the character, I was like, that's crazy. I'm literally doing this right now.
So
I totally know who
Think
this
Like
girl
a Man,
is.
the first Think Like a Man, you
First
was
Thing-
already.
yeah.
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
so explain for people who haven't had the privilege of reading the entire book
Right.
what The Wait is about.
So the wait, yes, it does talk about, being celibate and, being celibate in relationships or until you're married or however long you choose. But the book is more so about how if you can get control and have self-control over one area of your life and for it to be specific and for it to be intentional and for it to be about you growing and you loving yourself more and you getting closer to God and allowing whatever God is going to bring into your life based on the changes that you're making. So it was less just about so much just sex. It was more about taking control of yourself because sex is the hardest area in, I think most of our lives to get in control of. You can get control of your working out, you can get control of how much you drink or whatever it is, but sex is really hard.
So you all waited to have sex before you got married. And was there ever, because for me, like I keep saying,
That's beautiful.
In
First
our
base is
community,
penetration.
first base is penetration. We need to work on that as a people. But was there ever any fear that waiting so long, or how long were you together before you got married?
Year.
Did you ever fear that maybe that would be a year like that you invested in something that you may not want?
No,
was sex a big enough deal? It could have been a deal breaker.
Here's the wonderful thing. When you're not having sex with someone and you're getting to know someone, you get to know them in a completely different way because you can't rely on the sex to be the base that you build a relationship on. So you actually have to get to know their heart, their soul, their spirit, who they are. You get to see the good, bad, and ugly. You get to see the real situation really early on. Whereas when you're having sex with someone, the sex is really what keeps you, engaged. You need that, and then you get to know the person. But the way that it took me in my last relationships, I got to know DeVon that way in maybe like 4 months. The way that it took me to learn somebody that I was with for maybe 2 or 3 years.
Yep. Wow.
The type of relationship that we had, just the base that it was built on, how solid it is, that positively surety of like, oh yeah, I could spend the rest of my life with this person because I really know who he is.
I concur. You've met my girl.
Yeah.
And
She's beautiful.
Thank you. The first time I tried to get them yams, she didn't let me.
Right.
Like she came to
I
my
can't
crib.
even
I
do it.
tried to get them yams. She wouldn't let me. And long story short, we'll be celebrating a year this month, and she made me wait 3-4 months.
Congratulations.
And it's been a year, and and now what's so crazy about it, we don't have a lot of sex now. It's like once every other week or something like that, once or twice, because we're just so lost in each other. Like that's just like my best friend. So that's dope.
But
So I
that's
concur
it's
with
supposed
you.
to be icing on the cake though. Like
Yeah.
sex is supposed to be, that extra like gift, amazing thing. It's not supposed to be the whole relationship because what happens when you get tired of having sex with that person?
Yeah, 'cause
what
my-
happens
yeah,
when
my ex-
you ain't feeling that person at that time,
Yeah.
or what happens? And I think that's marriage too. A lot of relationships and marriages don't work because people go into them with that being the base,
Yeah.
and then when they get tired of that person, they ain't got nothing else in common. And then you got to wonder, do you even really like that person?
Well, I'm talking to somebody now.
Amen.
Maybe
That's
I'll
good.
wait.
That's right.
I'm gonna read the whole book first.
You
maybe
should
call
wait,
call on
Jason.
them for some counsel because I don't. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting to a point to where like I'm reevaluating everything I've ever done, and I'm just like, okay, like I see where this went wrong. Okay, this rescue puppy was a problem anyway. So I'm learning, and I'm trying
Megan,
to.
we call Jason the ASPCA. He's always picking up a stray.
I mean,
I
Trying to
used to
change
be.
them.
the Giuseppe department at Barney's has seen me quite a lot. Okay, so when you all finally had sex, was it everything that you expected? Was the sex good?
Look at
sex was
look at
good.
the smile.
Sex was
Yeah,
good.
but you know what was really special was and I don't want to get too much into it because I but
We don't need the church coming after
Right.
Megan
what
Good.
I'm not worried about them. I'm just thinking about what DeVon's comfortable with.
Right.
What was wonderful was feeling like a teenager again, feeling like someone was doing something for the first time and really exploring something in a really pure way. And I had not experienced that since I was 19. And obviously this was different because this was actually my husband. So it was a very fun experience to feel like you're the only two people in the world and you got to discover each other in a brand new way.
Megan, I'd like to feel like a 19-year-old all over again. Hashtag just saying.
I know a
just
brother
saying.
named Bolo
Listen,
that just
shut
got
up,
out.
okay?
Can I say-
I'm not listening. I'm not leaving it up to you, and I'm not leaving it up to you.
Can I say that after waiting a year, we would have to have sex at Kaiser because I would need a cast. I would need all types. So like the passion. So was there the passion was there, and from there it's just been all good.
Yeah.
See, I was thinking like, how do I ask Meagan Good about having sex with DeVon Franklin?
I know,
in a way that doesn't make
Megan, he struggled with it.
I
It is
did.
the first time he has ever been like,
'cause you
Melissa,
did
how
quite
do we
well.
approach this interview? We don't want to offend
I
her.
respect Megan.
Yeah.
I like Megan. I respect Megan.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
did very well with asking that
Yeah.
question.
I didn't make
Jason.
eye contact. Because I know Devon is at home like, okay, because Devon has a lot of passion. So now you're friends with Oprah Winfrey. Okay, there's things in life, like there's life goals. So like I want Beyonce on speed dial and I want to throw shots of tequila back with Oprah. How is that relationship and how is it knowing her?
She's lovely. At first I was a little nervous because for some reason I was like, she's not gonna like me. And then as I've gotten to know her, she's really really lovely. She's incredibly normal. She's funny. She's got jokes, full of wisdom. She's just a lovely person. I don't know how else.
And
to
she's
say it.
really embraced Devon.
She
and
loves
you
Devon.
a lot.
She loves Devon. I mean, she loves me too, but she loves Devon.
Yeah, I mean, for Oprah to let you speak to her soul and like put you out there, that you're doing something right.
Thank you.
'Cause you said something earlier when you were talking about when you were at a crossroads in terms of what you were going to do with your career and God spoke to you. She has the same story. I don't know if you've ever heard it.
I have.
Yeah.
I have. When it was about The Color Purple.
Yeah.
And she went. Yeah.
She was literally getting
great
ready.
story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And right at the moment where she surrendered, she got the call.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. Maybe I need to sit still or something and
I
ask
think
the
you
Lord.
definitely need to sit still,
constantly
Jason.
ask God, I say, Lord, what am I not doing? Because, I'm humbly speaking, I'm a great, I got a movie coming out, faith-based film this summer with Malik Gilbert, Bill Duke, my first lead in the motion
Congratulations.
picture.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I'm like, you know what? But I'm seeing all these other people that my friends that I write comedy for, right? And they just getting jobs. I'm like, Lord, okay, now is this for me? Like,
Right.
patience, I think, is one of the biggest things I'm being taught.
I
But
will
it's
say
so
patience
hard.
is my biggest
So
weakness,
hard.
and I will say that for me, I can feel things happening now. Like it's weird when you're in it and you feel it happening, like you
Right.
feel something happening.
Yeah.
But it happened when I thought
When
it
you
wasn't
weren't looking.
when I wasn't even
When you
looking.
weren't looking and
Yeah.
not even prepared for
That's
it.
what it is.
Not prepared.
It is a surrender.
Yeah.
I think one, you have to be willing to give up the thing that you want to find out the thing that is for you. And I think two,
She dropping gems over there.
Fine.
Hold on.
And I think two, you have to be present in the moment. Like whatever's going on in your life right now. Yes, you're working towards the things that you want. We all are. If you ask me, I feel like I've lived a whole lifetime, but I feel like I'm just beginning. And so it's like every day I'm like, well, dang, I want to do action. I want to do, more of this type of drama. I want to.
I heard you're
do
taking,
more.
some mixed martial arts
Yeah,
classes.
yeah.
This
Well, I just
might-
kind of decided.
Trying to
This
do your own
might,
stunts?
this might be our next,
Action hero.
Action
That's
hero.
what I want to do.
Trying to do your own stunts,
I'm like, and one of the things that DeVon said to me when I came home from doing Minority Report, I had gotten some show offers and it just wasn't the right thing for me. And I'm a quality of life person. Like if someone offers me a lot of money, that's great. But for me, if I got to be excited every day to go to work. I got to be excited about what I'm doing. I got to be passionate about it, especially if it's something I'm going to be doing for a long time.
I agree.
So, for me, it was like, all right. So I turned down some opportunities, which were hard to do because they were great opportunities. They just weren't the right ones for me. And then I was like stressing at first. I was like, oh, what's my next job? And I don't know. And I don't want to lose the momentum. And, and DeVon was just like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, I really want to play complicated, characters, but I also want to do something in the action space where I get to be physical. And, I want to do like some Lucille Ball comedy. And he's like, well, what are you doing to make that happen for yourself? And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, how are you preparing for it? And I was like, well, I'm in good shape. He's like, but how are you preparing for it? And I was like, that's a good point.
Well,
So I started taking
you've had an extremely a lengthy career. I don't want to say 30 years, but I feel like
It's 30 years.
It might be about 30 years. So you have a
Living
lot.
legend.
Yeah, you have a lot of advice that you can give to fledgling artists. And I've got like a litany of questions that basically just kind of give everybody that kind of Sorry with the big
Spell
word.
it.
No, we don't need to spell it. Melissa, you were going to ask some questions.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe not a litany, just a couple of them.
Thank you.
know, because I feel like this would give people, just a really a nice kind of viewpoint as to, just your thought process when it comes to choosing roles and things that you've already done. So, right off the bat, favorite co-star or co-stars?
Probably Ramadi Malco.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
That kid. He's such a genuine, he's such a pure spirit and just like a cool guy. Let's see.
Of
Obviously,
course,
Laz.
Yeah.
Who else?
Linda Jackson or Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell was amazing. He's super sweet, you'd be surprised. Those guys are so humble and so easygoing and so what do you need? Can I help? And but yeah, I'd say those are probably my, the mother on Deception, Catherine Lanasa. I adore her. We just had lunch the other day. And who else?
I was working with Tyrese.
I was just about to ask that.
Amazing. I mean, Tyrese is like a brother to me. That's another one they said I dated that I didn't date.
That nigga.
I'm like, but Reese's Pieces. He's that's what I call him. He spends a majority of the time dropping wisdom.
Next time I roll up to his house, I'm gonna be like, "Yo, is Reese's Pieces here?" Because
I was at the bookstore and I saw his book in the self-help section.
Interesting.
Nice.
Okay,
Funny.
so we're just gonna skate right over that. Okay, so you have an entire body of work to choose from, but what was your favorite role, or one of your favorite roles? Top 2, top 3.
Eve's Bayou.
My favorite.
And this little movie that I produced called Miles from Home.
I was gonna say Miles from
nice.
Home.
I love
Yeah,
that you've seen that.
Yeah, of course.
I was like, for me, that was I felt like I kept playing the sexy girl, the love interest, and I was getting really tired.
And you know who you were? You were kind of like Along Came Polly.
Yeah.
You're very kooky.
Thank you.
In that role, but just adorable as hell. But
Thank you.
But it wasn't about the Meagan Good sex appeal.
Right.
It was about the girl.
That was the
those
point.
roles.
Was how do I stray completely away from who everyone thinks
Have
that
you
I
ever
am?
worked with Queen Latifah or no?
Yeah. Queen I worked with on
The Cookout.
The Cookout.
Oh, the Cookout.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, I'm surprised you guys haven't worked
Yeah.
together much more. I mean,
Yeah, I think we will though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how much time, in terms of where you are right now, in front of or behind the camera? Because I know that you're trying to, you're doing the producing.
Yeah.
And hopefully, have you directed yet?
I've directed 2 music videos. I directed my brother-in-law Eric Bellinger's music video, and I directed.
shout out to Eric Bellinger.
Shout out to Eric Bellinger.
Didn't even know that him and
Favorite
Lamaya
song.
were married
Married.
and then kid. I mean,
Yeah.
Eric is the truth.
I used to choreograph for Eric. That's
Let
how
me
crazy
just
the world
say,
is.
a lot of the sounds that are coming out
Yeah.
right now that people are doing are sounds that Eric
yeah, he's
originated.
very talented.
Yeah, so I'm
And,
like,
and all of you are just so humble and
Thank
so cool.
thank you.
I like them together.
I do too.
Yeah, I do. He
I,
balances
listen, I
out.
had to cry because I'm like, and she cried on my wedding day too. It was like, I trust this guy with you. Like we've
Nice.
always taken care of each other. We're a year and 11 months apart.
I remember
so
when
we're
I first
super
met
close.
Megan
Almost
and
like
Lamaya.
Irish
They
twins.
were, I mean,
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
together all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're inseparable. They really are.
Yeah. Well, we still are, you
Yeah.
know, but like inseparable with husbands now. So
Yeah.
they're our soulmates, and we're each other's soulmate as well.
So we're gonna wrap things up. But Gio, you had something you wanted
real
to ask.
quick.
her.
I was at home watching TV one the other day. Charlie Murphy Hollywood Unsung. I
Yeah.
see that next Wednesday
Yeah.
they're doing Meagan Good Hollywood Unsung on TV1. Tell us about that.
I'm so excited because they called me. They're like, all right, we know you're not unsung, but like, we want to do your untold story. And so I was like, I think I would love to do that because I actually really love that show.
I love it.
And I watch it all the time. I have it, saved and stuff. So I was like, yeah, here's a chance for me to really say what I want to say, tell the truth about my story, really express myself, allow people to get a better chance to get to know me and just really who I am. And then also, people will really get to see where I came from. Like, what's the real? Like, I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood. I dealt with a ton of racism. Like, there's things about me in there that you would never know unless you knew my story. So I'm excited about that. That I also wanted to mention to what Melyssa was saying earlier. I have an Indiegogo campaign where my partner and I, Tamara Bass, are raising money to bring back films that actually have sisterhood, like Waiting to
Nice.
Exhale and
Love that.
Set It Off and Women of Brewster Place. We just don't have any more of those nowadays. And if
Right.
we do, they're comedies. So we just want to, especially in this climate, like with everything that's going on, it's like we really need those stories for this generation. So just wanted to shout out that, we have that campaign and it exists on Indiegogo, or you could go to crazyatrix.com and it will connect you to it. And that's crazy with a K.
Nice.
That's fantastic.
Okay, well, please tell DeVon that we handled this interview very well.
With
I
kid
will.
gloves.
I will.
Because, I put a lot of thought into how I was going to behave
That's a strong
today.
man of God, boy.
No, and also if you run into Oprah, let her know I got some Patron waiting for her. I would love to hang out with her. I mean, I feel like Megan is a great testimony. You are, and hopefully I become one at some point.
You always leave me out, bro.
No, but I mean like dream big.
You're getting there.
Like,
You're
dream
getting
big.
there.
I went to Essence Festival, and when I went to Essence Festival, I left and I called Floyd and I said, I'm not dreaming big enough in terms of what Hollywood Unlocked can be. Because the whole concept was being able to get to your favorite celebrities and hear from them directly.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, damn, Essence, they really did. So I left there saying, I got to dream bigger. So,
Yeah.
So
but
that's
thank you.
That's
Thank
what
you
we
for
wanna
being
leave
inspiring,
everybody
and thank you for being a good role model for women too.
You are a
Thanks.
great woman.
Thanks,
And
Megan.
if any of the Christians come after her again, you got to go through us.
Exactly.
Oh, that's one thing I want to say is it's not all Christians that
People,
have been
period.
like that. It's been some Christians, and so we got to show.
Well,
them
any of
grace
you
too.
hoodlums out there come from Megan Good, you got to come through us.
Come on.
and you
She
don't
So thank
want
you.
it with Jason.
got them kinky twist in, so she might give you them hands, boy.
All right. Thank you, Megan.
Thanks, Megan.
Bye.
All right, bye everybody.